remembered to restart loopback, so we shouldn't have any
Okay.
echo issues.
See whenever the stream kicks in.
So we're just gonna do a little test. Everything should be good. All the
Test,
audio
test,
is good.
test.
Test 1, 2, 3. Test. How you doing, YouTube? We'll be there in just a second. As you can tell, we're doing the Simpsons wrestling. That's what we're gonna be talking about tonight. But we got news and all that good stuff coming up here in just a minute.
Yep. Sounds good.
Let me let everybody know that we're here real quick, like.
I don't know if I'm looking forward to talking about this game or just like completely dreading it. There's like
well,
no in between.
well, like I said, I looked up some video yesterday just to be prepared, and I was like, ugh, this game looks
Yeah.
terrible.
It doesn't. I wouldn't say it looks terrible, but I watched a playthrough of it the other day.
Oh, yeah.
The things
yeah.
we do for the listeners.
And of course, the playthrough was all Ned Flanders. So, and it was just like,
Of course
Oakley,
it
Oakley,
was.
the whole time. I'm like, I would throw my PlayStation out the window.
That's because Ned Flanders is a broken character. That's why.
Well, let's get into the show so we can talk about it. And here we go in 3, 2, 1. Greetings, programs, and we're back for another episode of the Nerd Cave Retro Show. My name is Jason Robbins.
My name is Derek Diamond.
And we have a very, very special guest. When was the last time this guest has been on the show, Derek? I don't even remember. It's been too long.
It has been a long time.
At least a couple of years, but we had to have him back, and it is our community spotlight here on the show. And he is our Discord community manager, and we couldn't do it without his help. And he's been here since the beginning, even before this show started. He's been listening to my podcast. I don't know why. I don't know why he likes my stuff, because I'm just an idiot. But it is Mr. Daniel Salmon, a.k.a. Bethany Fox. How you doing, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. And that accent, oh, yeah, that Australian accent is awesome. I love it.
I mean, I could just not talk for the entire show and just have Bethany Fox here fill in, and listeners will probably, the rate will probably increase.
Yeah,
if
Derek.
I'm being honest.
Derek, you're done, Derek. I'm just gonna make Bethany the co-host now, and he's gonna be on open micers too. I'm gonna kick Jacob out. He's gonna be on open micers.
Hopefully, how good would it feel for you to do that?
Oh, to kick Jacob off open micers? Like I'm just waiting for the day. Just wait.
I'm sure Jacob. I'm sure Jacob still has a beef with me though.
He's got a beef with everybody. It's just Jacob.
It's kind of his thing.
Yeah, but I'm the reason he still goes through the monthly things.
Oh, but hey, we're in WrestleMania month, and Daniel, did you get to watch any of the WrestleMania over the weekend, or do you guys not get into the wrestling down there?
Me personally, I'm not into wrestling. But we do kind of get it here. But it's not as big as it is over there.
Yeah. What about you, Derek? I know you got to. Still haven't watched night 2. I watched night 1. I didn't get to watch night 2 yet, so I still haven't seen the John Cena, Cody Rhodes fight. I know how it ends, but I just haven't seen it yet. So, what'd you think?
Overall, I thought, if I combine the two shows together and just kind of look at it as a whole, it was a pretty good show. There were some really good matches. There were some that were not so good, in my opinion. I didn't get to watch night 1 live because I had to work, but I got to catch up with it Sunday morning and then watched night 2 live. And it was good. Not the greatest WrestleMania, but I don't think it's as bad as people have been making it out to be. The thing you got to remember is that wrestling's an ongoing story. Like, it never ends. So you have to see what happens next. Like, the way it ended is supposed to lead into what's going to happen over the course of the year. So I'm going to wait until other things happen with the storylines to before I pass judgment on it. But I enjoyed WrestleMania.
I just find it weird that The Rock throws himself into all these storylines and then just didn't even show up after he made all this happen. Like, just where was he? What was
He was
doing?
in Hawaii.
Doing what?
He posted on his Instagram that he was just hanging out on the beach in Hawaii. And I'm like, you're the reason that John Cena turned to the dark side, supposedly.
And you're just hanging out on a beach in Hawaii. Like, what the hell,
and
man?
no word from him at all since that happened. So
Wow.
Yeah. The ending was not great, in my opinion, because of that.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens over the next year.
Yeah. It kind of reflects the mood that I had at the end of WrestleMania was kind of carries over into what we're going to be reviewing tonight. So It actually works out perfectly.
So Daniel, back to you for a minute. You're our community manager over on Discord. So tell people why they should be joining our Discord server and being a part of our community over there, in your words.
There's plenty to do over there. Like, there's always something going on. There's plenty of people chatting, and it's just a great community. People share interesting things that they find online, and all sorts of things.
Yeah,
and it's just a great place to hang out and meet new people and just chat about games and general life.
And not only that, we've got all kind of things, like different tabs on our Nerd Cave Retro Discord. If you like wrestling, we have a whole wrestling talk section in there. If you want to talk about your pets, we got a pet section. We got gaming chat. We have food lovers. We got memes. We got anime suggestions. You can put your drawings and your artwork and your writing in there. Talk about your hobbies, Star Wars. Definitely some. If you like 40K, Daniel's your man. That y'all can talk some 40K in that tab. But yeah, there's a lot going on in the Discord.
Yeah, I would say so. And I love how organized it is. Like you mentioned, you have your pet section, you have your wrestling section, your fandom. And the great thing is that there's no drama. There's not really any fighting. It's just people that have common interest and just have fun conversations.
Yeah, and I try to keep it all as organized as possible, and yeah, it all works out pretty good. So it's slowly getting there. I think we're on 4 years, 5 years, something like that.
But yeah, I know there's a lot of people out there that are probably like, I don't know if I want to. You've never been on Discord or anything like that. Like, look, we have a great community over there, and if you're looking for a community where there's no fighting and no talk of like politics and things like that, we just talk about like try to be friends and have good stuff, and it's a great community. Go head over there to the Discord, because people that come in and they're dicks, guess what? They get booted. That's what happens. So if
you do have the occasional trolling from Rampage, but I feel like that's usually directed at either you or me.
I mean, that's just Rampage. He doesn't play good games like we do.
Yeah.
Makes me so happy to hear somebody else say that.
Yeah. But gentlemen, before we go into the review for The Simpsons tonight, do we want to get into this news for a little bit?
Sure.
Here we go. Some of tonight's stories were provided to us by RMS Jackson, and if you have a news story you'd like us to cover, send them to nerdcaveretro@gmail.com. And the first story, actually, I put this one in here. The first story is from Engadget.com. Nintendo shares a vintage SNES commercial starring Paul Rudd as he reprises the role for Switch 2. Nintendo surprised us a little bit with a blast from the past this weekend, uploading a 34-year-old Super Nintendo commercial featuring Paul Rudd to its YouTube channel. And it's released a sequel for the Nintendo Switch 2. Rudd appears in the Switch 2 promo wearing the same outfit he wore back in 1991, but this time he's playing Mario Kart World with some celebrity friends over the new Game Chat social feature. It's a charming callback to the original Super Nintendo ad, which itself is deliciously 90s and a real treat to revisit in 2025. Commercials today just don't hit the same. So did you guys get to see the new Paul Rudd Switch 2 commercial?
Oh, you can go ahead, Bethany.
I mean, I saw some of it, but it's been floating around on TikTok for a while. But I hadn't watched all of it. I only watched a little bit of it.
Yeah, I watched it earlier today, and what's cool about the article is it does also have the original commercial, and then you can watch the new one. He's wearing the same outfit, and I know this is like a played out thing with Paul Rudd, but he looks the same as he did in the 91 commercial, and I'm like, did you sell your entire soul? Like, what did you do? Like, what's your secret? I got to know.
It's all that Hollywood baby blood, man. They're drinking that baby blood down in Hollywood.
Yeah, exactly. But it's a cool little commercial. You know, he's doing the new Nintendo chat with other celebrities, and even his niece is on there and talk smack to him, which was pretty funny. It's a fun throwback if you're an old school Nintendo fan.
Yeah, I dig it. I love the nostalgia of it.
Next up, from NintendoLife.com, Nintendo Switch 2 US pre-orders start April 24th, system and launch game pricing unchanged. It will remain at the previously announced price of $449.99 US money for the base hardware and $499 for the Mario Kart World Bundle in North America. Prices for Mario Kart and Donkey Kong Bonanza will also remain unchanged at $79.99 American dollars and $70 respectively. Retailer pre-orders in the US and Canada will begin on April 24th. However, previously announced prices for accessories have been adjusted in the US due to changes in market conditions, and the company doesn't rule out the possibility of price adjustments to any Nintendo product in the future. Accessory prices in Canada are unchanged. I'm not surprised, personally. I didn't think they would change their prices even with all the backlash. To me, it just sets a very dangerous precedent for what's going to happen in the future, because if Nintendo is charging this, imagine what Microsoft and Sony are going to do. Like, I am convinced that Grand Theft Auto 6 will be $100.
It already is.
It is. Oh, wow.
Like, I mean, GTA in general is within 60 to 100. I haven't actually checked the PlayStation Store on it, but like there are already games out there that are charging over $100 for AAA titles. Like especially here. I don't know about America, but most games are between 60 and 120, 130, depending on what pack you get.
Yeah, I'm still thinking Nintendo might be kind of nervous right now, too, because you don't know what's going to happen with all these tariffs and everything that's going on. I think this is honestly the worst possible time for them to be releasing, for anybody to be releasing anything right now. So, I don't know. I hope Nintendo doesn't, get put on their ass by this, but you never know.
Yeah, to me, June just seems a weird time to release a console, and maybe it's just because I grew up with, the GameCube and the N64 and whatnot coming out late in the year. I know the Super Nintendo came out in August, so that's a bit of an exception, but I don't know. I just feel like you said, given the uncertainty with the economy and how much things are going to be, there's no telling what it's going to be like in June. I mean, I know we're already, knocking on the door at the end of April, but June will be here before you know it, and things could be vastly different.
Yeah, we're gonna know real soon.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
And this next story is also from NintendoLife.com. Nintendo today gives us another look at Zelda Wind Waker for Switch Online. Last week, Nintendo announced GameCube games will be added exclusively to Switch 2's online expansion pack at launch. If you haven't already seen it, one of the 3 games joining the service at launch is Legend of Zelda The Wind Waker. Let's see. Nintendo Treehouse showcased gameplay footage this week, and now this week more footage has been shared by on the Nintendo Today mobile app. Alongside alongside the launch of the Switch Online's GameCube app on no 5th of June, Nintendo will also be releasing a new wireless GameCube controller, which you can order directly from the My Nintendo store. The particular library of games will also include Soul Calibur 2 and F-Zero GX at launch, and you can expect to see in the future Super Mario Sunshine, Chibi Robo, and Luigi's Mansion.
I actually think Soul Calibur 2 is pretty underrated. You know, I loved playing it for the GameCube, and I'll say I got that version because Link was kind of the exclusive character.
Yeah.
But even F-Zero GX is a pretty underrated gem for the GameCube, in my opinion. This is cool and all, but I wish they would add like 3 or 4 more GameCube titles to come out at launch. I feel like 3 is a little light.
Yeah.
And they did a Wind Waker HD for the Wii U. And I don't know why that hasn't been ported.
I don't know.
Did
The same thing with Twilight Princess.
Did they do a Wind Waker for the Wii U?
Yeah, it was Wind Waker HD. It came out towards the end of the Wii U's lifespan.
See, that
if I
shows you how
have that.
poorly the Wii U did, because I had no idea. If I didn't own Wind Waker was remade for the Wii U, I might have actually bought one. But I had no
Well,
idea.
I knew Twilight Princess was. I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because Twilight Princess is on the GameCube, the Wii, and then it had a HD release for the Wii U.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't know Wind Waker also got the same treatment.
It boggles me that they have these titles for a console that not a ton of people played, and it can't be that difficult to port Wind Waker HD over to the Switch or the Switch 2. Because I mean, you're not going to have a new Zelda at launch. Why not just port the HD version of a widely popular Zelda game?
Because it seems like such a waste to not do that.
Mm-hmm. No, I totally agree. Let's see. Next up, also from NintendoLife.com. Oops, Yoshi's Woolly World featured in Switch 2's compatible Switch games. Nintendo Switch 2 Direct highlighted all sorts of new and existing titles, but one of the more interesting discoveries in the North American broadcast was artwork for what appears to be Yoshi's Woolly World, officially known as Poochie and Yoshi's Woolly World on the 3DS, in the compatible Nintendo Switch titles. What's odd here is the 3DS or Wii U version of the game isn't actually available on the Switch. Switch only plays host to Yoshi's Crafted World, and it's apparently this particular game that was featured in the Japanese and European broadcast. And it includes a screen cap of all the titles from the Switch that will be compatible for Switch 2. I never played Yoshi's Woolly World. It looks fun. Like I like the Yoshi games. I think the yarn look and artwork is pretty unique and is fitting for the Yoshi games. So if this is true, then once I eventually do get a Switch 2, I will check this out.
I've always liked the Yoshi games. Like, I played Yoshi Story on 64, and Yoshi's Woolly World really does remind me of that. But the one thing that I actually do find, and it's really adorable, is the amiibo, because it's a knitted Yoshi.
That's cool.
Yeah, I've seen that. I haven't purchased one, but yeah, it looks really cool. They do some really creative amiibos. Like, you know, they have the The original 8-bit Mario from Super Mario Brothers is one. They had one for the original Link too. So yeah, it's one of the cooler looking amiibos they've ever done.
I'll be honest, I have not played a Yoshi's game since what is that Yoshi puzzle game that was on the on the NES? The
Yoshi.
was that what it was called? Just
Yeah, it was
Yoshi?
just called Yoshi.
Oh,
It was for the Game Boy too.
yeah, that's what I played. That's the last Yoshi game I played. It's been a while, guys. Let's see. This next, I threw this in because I just randomly ran across this when I was just looking for news stories the other day. And this is from MSN.com. This came out like a month ago. The original Legend of Zelda got a remake most fans probably don't even know about. Let's see. It is no stranger to remakes, from the 3DS remakes of Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask to the Switch version of Link's Awakening. Let's see. Despite the wealth of re-releases that have been produced for the series, fans may be surprised to learn that the original Legend of Zelda has received a remake of its own. It may come as a shock, especially considering Nintendo's reluctance to rejuvenate the Zelda series' older titles, preserving the original experience through the likes of the Virtual Console service. Yet the 16-bit remake of the original NES classic went far beyond what more recent Zelda releases have achieved, adding a wealth of changes and additional content that alters the entire game as a result. Let's see. Zelda no Densetsu is an unusual remake of the original Zelda title originally released on the Satellaview add-on for the SNES in 1995. It simply is not content with being a faithful recreation of the NES classic game. This is most evident when the player first starts up the game, as the beloved hero Link is swapped out for one of two avatar characters from the BSX broadcasting system featured on the Satellaview. Let's see. And it said something about here. The game was only made playable at a certain time each week. You could have multiple changes made to the BS Zelda are likely going to pique many fans' interest in exploring the remake, and for good reason. The altered dungeon layouts and timed events help make it feel like a fresh adventure, offering players a unique take on one of the most important games in this series. Let's see, where was it? It said, because it was on this. Remember we talked about the Satellaview a couple weeks ago on This Month in Video Game History, but apparently this was on the Satellaview, and it was only available to play like a couple times a week on that service. So why has Nintendo never released this as an official release? Like, what are they doing?
We don't get paid enough to figure out why Nintendo does what Nintendo does.
Yeah, it says.
I'll be honest, I've never heard of this.
Yeah, it says players in Japan had limited access during the Satellaview's broadcast. Players were only able to access BS Zelda for a certain period of time each week, and the game was only broadcast a handful of times. So no physical copies are available to purchase. And Satellaview's broadcasting ended in 2000. So where is this game, and why have they not released it as a standalone game?
I don't know, but that'd be a cool little gem to release, I think. Let me see if there's any gameplay on YouTube.
So Armez Jackson in the chat room says, I bought one off Etsy. The game's clock was disabled, and it was an awesome game. Totally worth it if you can track one down. Are you talking about this particular Zelda game, Armez? I'll give him a second to...
Let's see. Zelda Satellaview.
Because if there's a 16-bit version of the original Legend of Zelda out there, Nintendo needs to release this, like, now. Because I want to play it.
I think I found some gameplay of it.
He says yes, indeed. So apparently you can get copies of this out in the wild. So I might have to look this up and see if I can get one.
Yeah, I would love to track something like this down, because until we read this, I had no clue that this existed.
So here's what we do. We all get on Twitter. Everybody that listens to the show, tweet at Nintendo of America. Please release the Legend of Zelda remake. It's called BS Zelda no Densetsu.
I just saved the video, so I'm going to watch some gameplay later. That sounds really cool.
But yeah, go check this. It's on MSN.com. It was a story about a month ago. So check this out, everybody. And yeah, there's a Legend of Zelda remake just floating around out there in the ether. And I had no idea. None of us did.
That's why I love doing this show, is finding little stories like that of something that I would have never known that existed if we weren't doing this show.
No kidding. I want this now. I would pay full price for it.
Oh, man.
Thanks, Nintendo. And now it's time for this month's video game history. On April 15th of 1995, Midway Games releases Mortal Kombat 3 in arcades. I like Mortal Kombat 3, but 2's still my favorite.
Yeah, people don't talk that much about 3. You know, I know 2 is regarded as the best in the series, and everyone gives praise to the first one because it's the original. But no one ever really talks about 3 that much. I think it's one of the more like overlooked games as far as quality goes. Like it's as good as the first one, in my opinion, or maybe a little bit worse.
Yeah.
But it's still a very enjoyable game.
Used to play Mortal Kombat 3 on 64 a fair bit when I was a kid.
Oh, wow.
I think that's
Because we
where I
had
played
3
it,
and
too.
4.
But yeah, this is the one that introduced animalities to
Yes.
because Mortal Kombat 2 introduced the babalities and friendship moves. And then in this one they had animalities. Who wants to do a friendship move in Mortal Kombat? That's not what we're here for. We're here to rip skulls out of what did he say? You ever seen Red versus Blue, where he's like, he pulled my skull out and beat me to death with it. How is this physically possible?
Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw, but it may have been IGN put out a list of the best video game movies of all time, and Mortal Kombat, the original, did make the list. It was at the bottom of the list, but it did make it. It's a guilty pleasure movie of mine.
Yeah.
April 23rd, I threw this in just for kicks and giggles. April 23rd, 1997, Zatrix Entertainment release Redneck Rampage for MS-DOS in North America.
This is something we need to review.
I
Yes.
haven't thought about this game in years. I used to play it at we had a neighbor, like a family friend that lived a street over. We used to hang there a lot. I played it. That was the last time I'd played it, and then I thought about it again like 3 years ago. But from memory, it was such a funny game.
$20 says that this is on damn it, Derek, what is it called?
Oh,
GOG.
playclassic.games?
Play Classic.
Hold
Why
up.
can I never remember that? Play Classic. I bet it's on playclassic.games and we can play it there.
Let me look that up real quick.
It is
I think
re-released
it might
on.
also.
It's on Good Old Games and Steam with support for
Nice.
Windows and Mac OS. So I might actually have to go get an actual copy of this on Steam.
Redneck Rampage is on playclassic.games.
Yeah.
This could be a fun review.
Redneck Rampage sounds like a typical Saturday here along the Gulf Coast.
I was about to say, that's over on yours and Jacob Craig's neck of the woods.
Yeah.
Y'all would call that Tuesday.
Redneck Rampage. Redneck Rampage is Rampage has a redneck brother somewhere that lives up in the woods.
Oh, he's going to be so mad at us
Yeah.
when he hears this.
April 8th of 2001, Dr. Mario 64 is released for the Nintendo 64. I mean, I'll play it sometimes, but you can't beat Perfection, which was the original NES game. I still play the original NES game to this day. That game's so good.
Yeah, Dr. Mario 64 isn't bad. You know, I agree with
no.
you that the original is still the best, but I'm glad that this exists because Dr. Mario doesn't get enough love. And I'm glad that, you know, like he was included in this game. He was a character in Smash Brothers Melee. So Dr. Mario he still lives.
I don't trust him as a doctor, though. I mean, as a plumber, maybe, but did he go to school to get his doctorate, or is he? What's going on there?
I mean, he was a doctor. He was a referee. He's a tennis player, a race car driver.
Golfer.
Yeah.
Yeah, golfer. Like what? God, Mario's been everything, man. Like just pick a lane, Mario. Just go with one thing.
Yeah. He's just a show off. And lastly, this is kind of cool. April 1st of 2003, Enix Corporation and Square officially merge, forming Square Enix. I remember seeing Square and Squaresoft logos on Super Nintendo games back in the day, and you
Yeah.
knew that more often than not, it was a good seal of quality. It's just crazy that it's been like over 20 years since they changed the name to Square Enix. I still call it Square,
Yeah.
just out of habit, but
Square
it's just crazy
Enix
that it's been around for that long.
has gotten weird in the last few years where they'll put out a game and it'll sell like 10 million copies and they're like, it was a failure. Like, what are you talking about? And then they'll like fire a bunch of people. So I don't know what's going on over at Square Enix.
I wouldn't call it the greatest working environment from
No.
what we've heard.
But yeah, that's going to bring us to the end of this month of video game history. But before we go to the review for tonight, Derek, would you like to do our Patreon shout-outs?
As always, we like to shout out our awesome patrons over at patreon.com/nerdcaveretro. We want to shout out Riley, Romaldo Marquez, Mr. Wally Phelps, Brian Piotrowski, Nick W., Eld the Zombie, Yup Fed aka Knife, James aka at Jimbo Jr. over on our Discord, Raven, Danny House, Justin Nispel, our guest tonight, Mr. Daniel Salmon, Mr. B. Res Coffee himself, Mike Eveland, Tyler Watson, Axblade07, Armez Jackson, Carlos Longoria, aka I am the Rampage,
Redneck Rampage,
Staff Sergeant Sketch, Gus and Penny, Matthew Salmon, Joey Potato himself, and of course,
Mama Diamond.
Donna Diamond. Thank you all so much for your continued contributions and keeping the lights on for us here at the Nerd Cave Retro Show. And we've been saying this now for a month. Now is a good time to join the Patreon because we are in the middle of our Nerd Cave Retro Quest Dungeons and
Yes.
Dragons campaign, and we will be recording the next installment of that later this week.
This Friday
first-
night, we're recording part 2. So if you want to listen to it, you got to be part of the Patreon.
Wally threw a few curveballs at us for the first part, but we made it through. So I can't wait to see what he comes up with for part 2. It might be my favorite Patreon episode we've done was
Me
that
too.
D&D campaign.
That and of course the very first episode of Thunder in Paradise is up there for me too, because just the sheer ridiculousness of that stupid TV show.
Yeah, that's up there too. But yeah, all it costs is as little as $1 a month. You get early access to our monthly bonus episodes. You get your own RSS feed that is completely ad-free. And all you got to do is just head over to patreon.com/nerdcaveretro. And for new patrons, be sure to send us your social media information so we can give you a proper shout out.
And I actually get to do some music for this one. Tonight we're going to be talking about...
Well, we've got the best part of the game out of the way.
Yeah.
So that's good. that I don't have all bad things to say about what we're going to be talking about, but we'll get to the good in a little bit. This week, I will be reviewing the Simpsons wrestling video game, which is a sports video game based on the animated TV series The Simpsons for the PlayStation, developed by Big 8 Productions and published by Fox Interactive through a co-publishing agreement with EA in Europe and Activision in North America. It was released in North America April 13th of 2001. The Simpsons, they're still a big deal, but from the 90s into the early 2000s, The Simpsons were a very big deal. And if you put The Simpsons name on something, it was going to get attention. Sometimes for the right reasons, sometimes for the wrong reasons. And I remember even back then, the stories of this game were kind of legendary as to how bad it was. So I never played it because I'm like, well, if it's a bad game, then I'm not going to waste my money on it. But with this being wrestling month and this was requested, I'm like, you know what? I will see if this game is as bad as it's made out to be. Because I reviewed not Super Mario, but Superman 64 a while back, and that's like the most legendary bad game of our generation. And it was as bad as people told me that it was. I will say this game is the same. It is as bad as everyone has made it out to be. And I was petrified to play this game, honestly. To talk about the bad, the graphics are awful. It looks like something that I would have made in my multimedia class in Flash animation in college. Like you can kind of pass it off as that's kind of the style of what the game looks like, but it's just the animations look like they're incomplete. It just looks like it was hand drawn but not finished, if that makes sense.
I was looking at the video for this game, and it just looked like it was very polygonal in that era of those polygons, and they didn't look finished or polished. Everything looked really rough, and I'm thinking, whole time I'm watching it, like, why would you go that route for this when you could have done something more cartoony? Like, you could have had what looked like the Simpsons arcade game, but just kind of a three-quarter view of the ring and have that style of animation, which looked more like the cartoon than this did on arguably a more powerful machine, instead of just an arcade machine. But it just seems like it could have been so much better. Like, and not that The Simpsons had a great track record anyway with video games up to this point, because even the old NES games were not that great. Bart Simpson versus the mutants and all that kind of stuff. Those games aren't that great. And then you get to this, and it's like, okay, now we're moving into the 3D realm, and they still kind of screw it up. So I just don't know what to think about this game.
Well, it had a couple of... Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. I've had a bit of time to think about it. Like, I think I wouldn't say the graphics are terrible, but they are bad. But I think in a sense they're bad because the PS2 had, which is what I watched it on, had a lot more power than what it was graphically done for.
Yeah.
Like, it could have looked better. The PS2 would have been able to have handled that little bit better animation.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. It's kind of like, how sometimes you get access to like a beta version of a game and you can tell that like things aren't complete, but you understand that this is a beta, so it's not going to be perfect. It kind of feels like the beta version of what could have been a better game. Like it seemed unfinished because the controls, I won't say they're broken, but it's taking button mashing and just injecting all the steroids into it because there's no real like sense of how to play. Like you can do a practice match before you go on to like doing tournaments or exhibition matches and things like that, but it doesn't really give you like a tutorial on how to do it. And I'm not saying that I have to have my hand held through every aspect of it, but if you have a practice portion of a game, I feel like you should use it as a means to explain how it works
Yeah.
instead of just because you have limited number of attacks depending on what character you use. One funny thing is your characters do have the ability to jump, and I played as Bart through the matches that I did. You can go around the ring on your skateboard. So like everybody has like a special thing about them. Like Bart has his skateboard and his slingshot. Barney belches the smog that covers like half the ring. But you can jump like ridiculously high. Like it's comical, and it actually made me laugh out loud as I was sitting on my couch playing it because one of the cool things I will say about it is that you get to go to different areas from the Simpsons universe, like the nuclear power plant, the bowling alley, and that is kind of cool if you're a Simpsons fan, just kind of being in that world. But the way that the game was designed, it feels more like a beat 'em up than a wrestling game.
That's what I noticed too. There wasn't really a whole lot of wrestling going on in the playthrough that I watched. It was just it was just Ned Flanders just beating everybody up like with his fists. I'm like, there's not much wrestling going on here.
No, there's really not. Like you don't have like your grapples or like I mean you have like specials you can do, but it feels so limited compared to even like like the early wrestling games from the PlayStation,
Yeah.
which came out before the Simpsons wrestling did.
Well, it's
It
like you
just doesn't.
said, this could be just the beta version. I mean, this the especially with these licensed games back in the day, the game these game companies publishers were notorious. I mean, even Superman 64 was a proof of concept. It wasn't even it was like an alpha, and they were like, okay, just why don't we just put that out? And they did, and people paid money for that. And I still will never forgive the whoever published that horrible piece of crap game. This could have been the same thing. It was probably they were probably running behind. This was the beta version of the game. They needed to get something out because they were up against the time crunch, and they're like, well, we'll just put the beta out.
Yeah, and it's a good idea in theory, and because if you look at the cover, it's got groundskeeper Willie holding up Homer Simpson, and he looks like he's afraid for his life. And if you're a Simpsons fan, you're like, this actually looks kind of cool. I might give this a shot. But there's really, and I hate to say this because I try to be fair with all the games that I review, but there's really nothing redeemable about it. Like it has a couple of good ideas, but they're just all executed from top to bottom just very poorly.
Feels like a money
It's
grab.
yep. It's like we've talked about in the past. You slap a name on it, and people are going to buy it. And I
Because
think
you
that's what happened with this.
because you get to something like Simpsons Hit and Run, which was an excellent game, GTA style game in that, Springfield, which I'm glad they're doing a remake of. That game was great, but something like this, it's like why it could have been so much better, but why were we so bad at licensed games back then? Why?
I don't know. It's just such a mystery. But yeah, now that I think about it more, the only thing it really has in common with wrestling is the ring, and you can bounce off the ring, and that's about it. Everything else is just a basic fighting game.
It reminded me a lot of, I don't know if you guys remember this game, but Sonic the Fighters, which was an arcade game that was similar. It looked similar to this, where you would be in a ring and all you would do is just, hit each other. And there was really nothing to it. It was an arcade game, but I'd still pick Sonic the Fighters over the Simpsons wrestling.
Yeah, Nick in the chat room said Road Rage as well. Road Rage was a great game.
I forget about Road Rage.
Yeah, Hit and Run and Road Rage were great Simpsons games, but yeah, it's this one, anything this one and before are pretty bad. Like you go back even to those like Nintendo games, like they were LJN games. They were like LJN, the warning label LJN.
AKA the Kiss of Death.
Yeah. And how bad were the controls for this? Because you said this was a button masher, not even a good one. How do you mess up a button masher?
I know it's like with button mashing, like those games can be fun because you're just hitting buttons like crazy, trying to, especially if you're playing against somebody. But it's like you just have such a limited move set, but you can't really figure it out, or at least I couldn't figure it out at the same time. Like to me, this whole game doesn't make any sense.
I feel like you only had like 3 buttons to use.
Mm-hmm. No, you're exactly right. But you have the PlayStation has 4 buttons on the right side, and you only use 3 of them.
I mean, does it even have like move sets that each character can do like a normal wrestling game, or is it just straight fisticuffs?
Each character has their own unique moves, but they all have like your basic like throw fists. Like with Bart, he has his slingshot. That makes him stand out. And I didn't really use any of the other characters because I didn't play this game for very long, because I'd seen enough after the little bit that I played.
The classic wrestling weapon everyone used, the slingshot.
So from what I gathered from the playthrough that I watched is I think you had a punch, you had a ranged attack, you had like not even an area attack, but and then I think there might have been something else. Like Flanders, for instance, he had a punch. He could throw a Bible at you and it'd float around the ring. And then
of course he did.
And then his like ultimate was the Wrath of God, which was just lightning that struck the ring multiple times. Although Marge's one's funny. Marge throws Maggie at you as her ranged attack.
That's great.
That's going to get somebody called on you. The Child Protective Service is going to get called at that point.
I don't know why, but that makes me think of the extended intro for the show whenever Marge would be at the store, and every time Maggie would accidentally get scanned. Excuse me.
They freeze framed it one time, and they saw how much Maggie was actually worth. Well, I'm going to look that up and see if that's still a thing.
Was it a different message every time?
I think so.
I think it was.
Because it was the same thing whenever the family would get home and they would go in to sit on the couch. There was always some kind of different scenario that would happen. Because I think one time, what other cartoon was big around that time? Because there was a different family that was sitting on the couch in one of the episodes.
She scanned at $847.63.
Wonder what that would be adjust to today's inflation.
It's because $847 was actually the estimated monthly cost of raising a child in the 90s.
Oh, that makes sense.
Wow.
Okay.
That's a lot.
I don't even want to know what it would be today.
I don't know.
Okay, so I do have one good thing to say about this game. And it is actually quite a good thing. Over the last couple of weeks, nothing has made me happier than the moment I closed the tab that I was playing this game on and just walked away from my computer. That's Nick, Family Guy. So it was the Griffins. I thought it might have been them that was sitting on the couch in that one episode. Yeah, I mean, as far as the reception of this game, it's pretty poor. I mean, we mentioned it when we talked about it on This Month in Video Game History. Electronic Gaming Monthly gave it a 3.17 out of 10. Game Revolution gave it an F. GameSpot 6.4, GameZone 7.5, IGN a 1 out of 10. Official US PlayStation Magazine 2 out of 5 stars.
Hold on 1 second. How does GameZone go from 7.5 out of 10 to IGN 1 out of 10? Like, that's a big gap. Like, who played this game and was like, yeah, I'm getting this in a 7.5?
I wonder how long they had their job after that score was released.
Who got paid?
Like, professional reviews are always funny because they're paid to be subjective, but some of them, you swear, like you look at some of the reviews and when they're vastly different over the board, you're like, surely there's got to be some bias in there somewhere.
Maybe like a super Simpsons fan or somebody that just doesn't play wrestling games and is just like, oh, this was fun, and just really not, if it's somebody that plays wrestling games and plays this and is just like, yeah, 1 out of 10, like I can understand that, but I don't know. That's a huge gap, 1 to 7.5.
Like, it'd be so hard to be very non-biased, especially if you're reviewing a franchise that you like or even just a game series or something that you just really like. Being very subjective is hard, and I did find that pretty difficult when I was writing my own for the show. Because some of the ones that I've reviewed are just, they're games I absolutely love, but
yeah,
to be subjective is really hard.
No, you're absolutely right. As far as what I give this game, it's a 1. I gotta side with IGN. Like I always give a 1 because of the effort that it takes to make a game. But to me, this isn't a game that I would play again. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. And I even put this in my notes. I said, this has absolutely been the worst game I've played since Superman 64. Stay away, far away.
Yeah, I don't think I'll ever be playing this game anytime soon.
If I find out you do, I'm going to instantly call you and be like, what happened?
Yeah.
What's wrong?
If I play this
Talk to
game,
me.
it means I've been hit in the head really hard. So have me checked out.
Or I got kidnapped.
Yeah, one of the two.
That's a cry for help.
Yeah. If I ever write on social media, I love Simpsons, the wrestling game, that means I'm in trouble and I'm like, I'm about to die. Send help.
But yeah, those are my thoughts on The Simpsons wrestling.
But that's going to bring us to the end of this week, almost to the end of this week's episode. I do want to say next week is when Joey Image is going to be here because Derek is out. Derek's got you got a wedding to go film or something like that?
A rare Monday wedding.
I know, that's the first thing Joey
filming.
says. Like, what insane person gets married on a Monday?
Let alone during the week. It's just weird.
I know. I hear that more often, though. Like, I remember a few years ago, someone had mentioned they went to a Tuesday wedding. I'm guessing it's probably because of the cost of the venue. It's probably a lot more expensive on the weekends, but
cheaper.
Like, everything would be a lot cheaper during the week than
a but at the same time, like, that's a lot to ask for people to take off work and all that kind of stuff.
But
either way, I'm getting paid to do it, so
it
doesn't matter to me what day of the week it is.
But Derek's getting paid, so he won't be here next week. But it will be Joey Image in his place, and he's going to continue to round us out for WrestleMania month. And I'm going to be reviewing WWF Raw the 1994 video game for the Super Nintendo. So that's what we're going to be doing next week. And before we go, I do have one listener review to share, and I've actually been very interested in this game because I hear a lot of good things about this game. From Nick W., Nick Windling, he is over in our Discord. For my listener review, I'm going to review Blueprints, and not blueprints like, where you like making a building or something. It's blueprints, as in like if Prince himself was blue instead of purple. So Blueprints is a roguelite first-person puzzle exploration game. The goal of the game is to get to the Antex Chamber. However, the house changes each day. Each day you start off with only 50 steps. You lose one step every time you enter a room. And when you open or unlock a door, you are given a choice to draft one of 3 rooms. Bedrooms give you extra steps. Red rooms give you debuffs like subtracting steps or other debuffs. There are also green rooms. You need to get to the Annex Chamber, which is at the top. Some of the rooms require gems. You will find keys to which will let you unlock doors. There are even special keys. Some of the rooms have puzzles to do in them, and I'm being vague here on purpose because this is a game you need to experience yourself. Visually, it's gorgeous and is part of Xbox Game Pass and PX Plus Extra Tier. The story of the game is found in the lore you will find around. Your great uncle died and is giving you in his will, but you can only get it if you get to the Antex Chamber. Getting there requires lots of strategy. I highly recommend it, and it's a masterpiece. And I hear it's kind of almost like a mixture of like Myst and sort of like almost like an escape room type of thing, like in video game form. Like it's very interesting sounding game from what I've heard about it. So if anybody out there has played it, let me know if you like it. Let us know what you think of Blueprints.
Yeah, it actually sounds really cool.
Yeah. Have you played it?
It's good that it's on PlayStation Plus, though. I might have to give it a look.
Yeah, because I'm almost done with South of Midnight, so I might actually play this when I'm done with that. This sounds really interesting. Like there's a lot of strategy to it. There's a lot of kind of puzzle solving and resource management and stuff. And like all the stuff I like about video games. So I'm gonna go give it a shot once I'm done with South of Midnight. I think I got like 3 chapters left in that game, and then I'm done.
Sweet.
But Daniel Salmon, a.k.a. Bethany Fox, thank you so much for coming on the show and doing our community spotlight, sir.
Yeah, absolutely.
No problems. Happy to be here.
Is there anything you want to tell the people before we leave tonight? Anything you want to pimp or promote?
Not really. I'm not really on social much these days. Usually on Discord, that's about it. I usually just watch over the Discord and make sure it's running smoothly, and that's just about it. But there's probably the only place you're really going to get me.
And it's a lovely place, too. Go join our Discord if you're not part of it. Do it now.
Yes.
So, Derek, what do you got before we get out of here?
Just as always, you can head over to Facebook or Instagram at Plain Jane Movie. Should be getting some festival news hopefully in the next week or so. So, yeah, that's really about all I got. I've been busy mostly with my day job, so not too much going on.
Yeah, same. I've been still trying to find a house, so I haven't had a whole lot of time to do much of anything, but go check out the Open Micers podcast that I do with Mr. Jacob Craig that I'm gonna replace one of these days with Daniel Salmon here, and, and we just last week we got to talk with a really funny comedian, Saya Meads. She's blowing up on the socials right now with her funny videos, so go check out that episode. Really good episode, and then all the hostful episodes we did before that, and it's been a good run of shows over there at the Open Micers podcast. And I'm going to make Jacob eat a pickle, which is I have right here. And he's going to hate me showing this, but I found these at Five Below not too long ago. It's Warhead's extreme sour blue raspberry pickle in a pouch. I'm going to make him eat this. He hates pickles, and I'm going to make him eat probably the grossest pickle on planet Earth. So if you're not a part of Open Micers, go over there, check us out, and he'll be eating weird sour pickles, and he'll probably throw up. So that's probably what my month looks like when we do that. But it's at Open Micers Podcast on Threads and Instagram and all that stuff. Open Micers Podcast or openmicers.com. Go check it out. Boys, I think we're done tonight. Did we do it?
We did.
Awesome. Well, let me go ahead and play our music here. If you want to email us at nerdcaveretro@gmail.com, or you can leave us a voice message. You can go to voicecast.app/NCR, and you don't have to sign up for anything. You just press the little record button there. It uses the microphone on your phone or computer, whatever you got. You record the message, you hit send, it goes straight to us, and you don't have to sign up for nothing. It's all free. And you go to nerdcaveretro.com. That's our link tree. That takes you everywhere. You need to go all the socials, all the ways to give us money, our Patreon, and our merch shop, which is at ncrmerch.com. We got t-shirts, hats, magnets, bags, mugs, and let me tell you, we've been selling a crap ton of Master Blaster Runs Bartertown t-shirts lately. We've been selling a ton of them, so go get yourself one. And go, and if you can't do that, can't be, don't have any money, 5-star rating on all podcasting platforms. Derek, please tell them what it's all about.
May the way of the hero lead to the Triforce.
Yes.
Master Blaster Runs Bartertown.
Sorry, I ran a little long on the end there.
It's all good.
Well, thank you guys for hanging out in YouTube as well. I like to see a jump in chat room. Yeah, Nick says he very much recommends Blueprint, so I'm gonna have to play it as soon as I'm done with South of Midnight.
Sounds great.
But Daniel, we got to figure out coming up soon. As soon as I get all this house stuff settled, I do want to actually get some game nights going again on Discord at least once a month. Let's do a game night, whether it's Splatoon or I don't know, what are people playing these days? I know we used to do Among Us, but what are people playing now?
I don't know, really. I'm pretty sure. What is it? I don't know. Whatever Wally plays.
I know they're playing
still
Fortnite still, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, that game.
We'll figure something out. Maybe we can get some Jackbox games or something going on.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Let's do that.
Jackbox games are fun.
Yeah, let's do that.
But everything's all set up, I believe. Let me just double check.
But thank you all for watching on the YouTubes, and we will see you. Let me play our little outro thing here. And go like and subscribe to the channel. Go tell your friends. We love all of you, and we'll see you right here.